I am the gutsiest coward of the Jiang manor. Every time I am wronged, I take the initiative to end my own life. The first time, my fiancé and my stepsister framed me for stealing a gold hairpin. I was so furious I took poison and died on the spot. The second time, my stepmother framed me for having an affair. I bit my tongue in public, spraying blood all over their faces. Until the 188th time, just as I was ready to die, I was inexplicably brought into the palace as a consort by the emperor. He even dragged the noble consort to kneel before me. I beg of you, please don't die. Silence. My name is Jiang Mo. I've been a coward since the day I was born. When I was 4, my father demoted my mother from wife to concubine. He only gave us mother and daughter one moldy bun a day. I endured it. At 5, my stepsister stole my things. She stepped on my head and made me be her horse. I endured it until my stepmother caused my mother's death. My plan failed, and I was sent to a temple. Since then, my greatest dream in this life became hanging myself at the doors of my father and stepmother. The strange thing is, in front of that scumbag father and my stepsister's door, I've hung myself over a dozen times. But in the blink of an eye, I'm alive again. But when my neck slipped through the noose, that smooth and wonderful feeling, I clearly remember it well. After the 50th failed hanging attempt, I started trying all sorts of fresh ways to die. After the 188th failure, I sat on the steps feeling worried. Since returning this time, my stepsister stole my fiancé, and my stepmother wants to sell me to a 60-year-old man as a concubine. If I don't die now, I will turn into cold, hard silver, flowing into that mother and daughter's pockets. I absolutely cannot allow that to happen. So I stood up and decided to try one more time. This time, I decided to die in the pot they use for cooking. I'd disgust them so much they couldn't eat. But before I could even reach the kitchen, I was grabbed by a group of people. They said the emperor wanted to take me as a consort. They forced me into the imperial sedan chair. I was inexplicably brought into the palace. The noble consort aggressively tried to steal my things, calling me a vixen. Crying, I took out some poison to pour down my throat. The emperor ran so fast, his shoes even fell off. He dragged the noble consort to kneel before me, shouting, "Why did you provoke her? Why on earth did you provoke her? The emperor is a tyrant, and I am a coward, but right now, he looks even more cowardly than me." He cautiously tried to negotiate with me. "My ancestor, what is it that you want? Is it gold, jewels, fame, or status? As long as it isn't too much, I can give it all to you." My hand gripping the poison loosened for a moment. He breathed a sigh of relief, wiping the cold sweat from his forehead. "I knew it. How could anyone in this world truly want to die? As long as you stay alive, I can even give your father a promotion and fortune, making him a marquis or a prime minister." I gave him an incredulous look. Then, without a second's hesitation, I threw the poison into my mouth and swallowed hard. Accompanied by a sharp pain, my vision went dark. I died, and then I lived again. When I opened my eyes, the emperor was standing there, gnashing his teeth. Time had reset to before the noble consort came to trouble me. I didn't really care why the emperor was looking at me like that. I was busy looking everywhere for my poison, my dagger, and my rope. Every time I found one, the emperor snatched it away. He seemed to be at his wit's end. Just what kind of deep-seated hatred do you have against this world? Do you absolutely have to die? Regardless, I will not allow you to die. I command you, from this day forth, you are forbidden from seeking death. I gave him a side-eye, thinking he was quite the busybody. Whether I die or not, what does it have to do with him? Back at the manor, my stepsister always used her status as the legitimate daughter to bully me. My ex-fiancé, Lin Chuan, was even worse. When my stepsister fell into the water for no reason, he held me underwater for over 10 minutes. "Jiang Mo, even without Shui Yin, I would never want a wicked woman like you. Someone like you isn't even worthy of being my concubine. Worthy or not, she gets to decide. Isn't it just about giving his own betrayal a justifiable excuse? But I can't kill them. I can't beat them in a fight. They have power and money. With money, their lives will be so smooth it makes people envious. This is no good, that is no good. Now I'm even forbidden from dying? I think I need to calm down." So I took off my outer robe. The emperor, who was glaring at me, saw this, and for some reason was stunned for a moment. Then his face began to turn red, and he spoke sheepishly. It's not that it's impossible." I gave him a weird look, then twisted my robe into a rope and hung it over the beam. The emperor shrieked, physically plucking me down. He seemed exhausted. "As long as you stay alive, I will give you a gold bar every day." Gold bars? Wow. Actual gold bars. I don't know what's wrong with the emperor, but I really did receive the gold. Looking at this shiny, shimmering gold, I didn't feel quite so much like dying anymore. I lived well in the palace for 2 months. The emperor treated me like an honored ancestor. Every day, maids came to tell me jokes and perform songs and dances. Just when I thought this life was pretty good, and I could manage to live for a few more days, I ran into my stepsister while admiring the flowers. Unlike me, she was born into luxury. Dripping in gold and jade, wearing fine silks, her mother stole my mother's position as the primary wife, and she especially hated the sight of me. Oh, isn't this my sister? I thought you'd flown up the branch to become a phoenix. But after 2 months in the palace, you don't even have a title. You really are a failure of a person. The emperor has always been ruthless. Once he's tired of you and throws you out, I'll make you my servant and my dowry. Brother Chuan said. After we are married, he'll request a noble title for me. I'll always need a few more maids to serve me. The emperor's reputation was indeed terrible. Killing his brother and serving his father ill, even his only younger brother of the same mother, was thrown 3,000 miles away to a wasteland. I suddenly felt life was meaningless again. Just as I was about to find a tree to hang myself, my stepsister added another line. Oh, right, father told me to tell you. Brighten up and serve the emperor well. If you delay his promotion, he'll skin you alive. Your kind of skin is just like your mother's, only fit to be a stepping stone for us. Having said that, she turned and walked away contemptuously. I stared blankly at her back for 3 seconds. Then grabbed her and dove headfirst into the water. Help! Someone, help! Someone will come. Glug, glug, glug. I died. And I lived again. The emperor's face was pale. He was full of confusion. Am I not good to you? Gold, silver, gems, fine silks and satins. Whatever you want to eat, the imperial kitchen makes. What on earth are you dissatisfied with? How did he know I died again? Time had clearly returned to before my stepsister arrived. I didn't understand, but I didn't want to talk to him right now. I buried myself under the covers. A pity I just died once. I didn't have much strength, otherwise, I'd go hang myself right now. The emperor paced back and forth, back and forth. He paced for the time it takes an incense stick to burn, then went to review memorials. Before leaving, he ordered the maids to take the best possible care of me, and left another gold bar. While drinking soup, I asked a maid. I heard the emperor executed the former tutor's 9 generations. What was the reason for that? Miss Jiang, don't be afraid, though his majesty has a reputation. He doesn't hurt people without cause. The tutor committed the great crime of treason. Treason is a bit hard to orchestrate. I can't even leave the palace gates. Should I throw a stone in the lake? With General Jiang is the heart of the new dynasty written on it? So the next time the emperor came, can you let me sit on the throne for a bit? He would surely be furious. And immediately execute my 9 generations. But I didn't expect him to actually ponder it for a moment. That might not be possible. The ministers wouldn't agree. But, if you really want to, I can let you in this palace. Well, declare yourself empress in just this palace. Everything here will follow your command. How about that? I wasn't happy. I tried hanging myself again, but this time I failed. Halfway through, the rope snapped. Clutching my bright red, strangled neck, I walked through the palace. I happened to run into 2 maids. They were huddled together whispering. Did you hear? The emperor was assassinated today. Who would be so bold? Assassinating the emperor is a crime that gets your whole clan executed. I saw it with my own eyes. There's a clear red mark on the emperor's neck. It was terrifying. My eyes lit up. I decided. I won't die yet. I'm going to assassinate the emperor. My dagger had been confiscated by the dog emperor. Poison too. But where there's a will, there's a way. I saved 2 pig bones from my soup, and secretly sharpened them. I set the time for the assassination at the mid-autumn banquet. With everyone watching, the Jiang clan couldn't escape execution even if they wanted to. I begged the emperor that I wanted to go see the festivities. He agreed very easily. Lately, he seemed to be in a very good mood. He even patted my shoulder as he left and granted my request. As long as you don't seek death, life will surely get better and better. I agreed completely. It's a good thing I didn't die before. Otherwise how would I have known about the method of assassinating the emperor to get the clan executed? God is helping me. The mid-autumn moon was beautiful. The emperor specifically arranged my seat very close to his, with the table full of things I love to eat. Everyone says the emperor is a tyrant, but I think he's a good man. I wasn't happy for even 2 minutes. Before my ex-fiancé who abandoned me, Chuan, approached. With a gloomy face, he said, Xiao Mo. You're quite bold. To provoke the emperor just to spite me. But it seems the emperor doesn't like you much either. Otherwise why hasn't he even given you a title? Xu Yan and I are getting married. So, in the next few days, tell His Majesty that you want to leave the palace. Then you can enter my house with Xu Yan. Xu Yan is kind-hearted. And since you are sisters, she will surely take good care of you. I'll even come to spend the night with you occasionally. I raised my head and looked at him in total confusion. His voice suddenly softened. Jiang Mo. I understand your feelings. No. I just want to ask. If the 9 generations are executed, does that include an unwed fiancé? Speaking of which, his life was saved by my mother. When he was 7, his older brother pushed him into the river. He almost drowned. No passersby dared to jump in. But my mother jumped in and saved him. Yet he repaid kindness with ingratitude. These years, he even speaks of my mother with utter disdain. And yet, a person like this lives such a glorious life. I hate him. I want him to die, but I can't have my cake and eat it too. If I kill him, I won't have the chance to kill the emperor. Compared to him, I'd rather see the Jiang clan executed. I pulled a sinister smile. I haven't discussed you taking me as a concubine with Xu Yin yet. Don't go boasting to her privately. She's not like you. She can't handle grievances. I didn't want to deal with him. After a while, he finally left. The banquet began. Cups were clinked. Music and dance filled the air, under the watchful eyes of everyone. I pulled out the pig bone knife from my sleeve, and rushed toward the emperor. Amidst everyone's stunned and frozen gazes, I roared, I, Jiang Mo of the Jiang family. Kill you, dog emperor, on my father's orders. Prepare to die. The faces of the Jiang family below turned pale as ghosts. My father had already stood up, but I was faster than them. Scrambling and crawling before the emperor. He seemed not to have reacted yet. In that split second, amidst the sparks and the dance, I raised the knife and stabbed it toward his chest. With a crack, the emperor was fine. It was the pig bone I'd sharpened for 3 days that broke. The emperor looked down, frowning, at the gold threads on his clothes that had been scratched. Just as I was about to pull out the second pig bone, the nearby guards rushed over lightning fast. I felt a bit of regret. I didn't know if this counted as assassinating the emperor, or if the Jiang clan would be executed. At the very end, I saw the emperor stand up in great alarm. Stop. But the guard, to save him, swung his blade toward my neck. At high speed, I seemed to see 2 heads flying up together. I lived again. Perhaps because I'd died too many times, I had a hallucination. This time when I died, I actually saw the emperor's head fly up along with mine. Jiang Mo. The emperor, for some reason, sounded a bit listless. Maybe next time you should just stick to hanging. Hanging is also quite good. I touched my perfectly intact neck, then looked at the listless emperor beside me, and suddenly understood something. I actually have an immortal body. No one remembers that I've died, except the emperor, who is the only person who can see the moment of my death, and whose memory isn't erased. He walked up to me, and looked down. At the banquet just now. Did someone bully you? If anyone bullied you, I'll kill them. I blurted out the Jiang family's genealogy. The emperor laughed helplessly. Are you saying all these people bullied you just now? Those Jiang family members far away in Jiangling. Did they bully you by proxy? I covered my ears, pretending not to hear. I just saw the air of Marquis Yongning. Chinan, talking to you. I heard you two had an engagement before. Do you like him? I didn't want to talk to him anymore. I wanted to find a tree branch to hang myself on. He stopped me, looking weary of life. I get it. Don't hang yourself. It seems you hate all of them. I have a good idea. Do you want to hear it? The emperor is way more devious than me. The day before my stepsister and Qinan's wedding, he would change the decree to name Qinan's illegitimate brother as the heir. The heir title represents the right to inherit the marquisate. Such an imperial decree practically stripped Qinan of all the money and power of the marquis manor, losing the inheritance right the day before the wedding. I was a bit curious to see what my stepsister would do then. So, for the time being, I didn't want to die anymore. I played on the swings in the palace, rode horses, and ate delicious food. 1 month before Qinan and my stepsister's wedding, I received a letter from Qinan. He urged me to hurry out of the palace, otherwise I wouldn't even be able to be his concubine. I replied with a single word, scram. He was furious, and wrote me a 500-word letter. He said I lacked virtue, had a bad temper, was unrefined and illiterate, and had a lowly background. Compared to my stepsister, I was like the ground to her heaven. If I kept playing hard to get, I wouldn't even be able to be a concubine. The emperor happened to be by the window, and seeing me skillfully twisting my robe into a rope, he felt unwell. He snatched the letter and wrote a 500-word reprimand on the spot. Then he had the head eunuch take a dozen guards, beating gongs and drums to read it out loud along the streets. I heard Qinan was at a restaurant then, drinking with some colleagues. While bragging, he heard this reprimanding decree. Before he could finish his wine, he slunk home in shame. He didn't dare show his face for a whole month. The day before the wedding, Qinan finally recovered. He took a few servants and planned to head out. But before he even reached the gate, the emperor's decree to appoint a new heir arrived. The announcing eunuch read it out word by word. His face turned gray bit by bit, and cold sweat dripped from his forehead. When he heard at the end that due to his lack of integrity and accepting bribes, his title of heir was stripped, and his illegitimate brother was named heir instead, he coughed up blood and fainted on the spot. Hiding in the crowd, I almost burst out laughing. Just to see this fun. I hadn't sought death for a whole month and a half. I went back to the palace happily, and ate an extra half bowl of rice. The next day was supposed to be the day my stepsister and Qinan married, but that very night, the Jiang family went to their door with a letter of annulment. Qinan had just woken from his coma, only to hear that his beloved had called off the wedding. He spat out another mouthful of blood. I heard that after he woke up the next day, he ran to the Jiang manor's door, begging my stepsister for a meeting. But a man like him, despised by the emperor, who would dare to be associated with him? He stood at the door for 2 whole days, only to receive a basin of cold water from my stepsister. Qinan was furious. He was overcome by grief and fainted again. Hearing this news, I was rolling around laughing in the palace. In this lifetime, this was the first time I felt so satisfied. Ah. Are you happy now, my ancestor? Don't worry. Marquis Yongning understood the decree. Qinan, I reckon, is about to be sent away. The emperor was right. The next day, while Qinan was still dazed, he was sent away by Marquis Yongning. I heard he was sent to a barbarian wasteland, with no chance of returning to the capital in this life. I rolled around on my bed vigorously, even wanting to hang myself to celebrate. After Qinan was sent away, my stepsister began looking for a new marriage. Though her reputation for calling off the wedding was bad, as long as my father's position remained, and my stepmother's title of commandery princess remained, she would never lack for men to marry. She looked around, but no one had a status as high as the Marquis matter. Finally, she heard somewhere that the emperor doted on me, giving me the stars if I asked for stars, and the moon if I asked for the moon. So she planned to enter the palace. The dog emperor's harem had few consorts. One noble consort was the daughter of General Xuanwu, and 2 ladies were forced in by ministers. A few others from years ago had all been killed by him. Later, no minister was willing to send their daughter to the palace. My stepsister wanted to enter the palace. The emperor asked me if I wouldn't want to hang myself the moment I saw him. Did I want to call her into the palace to play with her? But I might have to make a small sacrifice. Previously, I was just staying in the palace. If I wanted to teach my stepsister a lesson, I needed to have a formal title. I hesitated a bit. If I had a title, I'd have to stay in the palace for a lifetime. But in the next moment, Jiang Mo, think about how she bullied you for years. If you can't get revenge with your own hands, how regrettable. The emperor lowered his head, smiling very gently. Usually, he always had a stern face. Smiling like this made me dazed. By the time I snapped out of it, I had already agreed. The next day, my stepsister entered the palace. The emperor titled her as a noble lady. She was in high spirits, showing off to me since I hadn't been titled yet. But before she even reached my palace, the emperor titled me as the virtuous consort. She turned around and left in a fit of rage. That day, she spent 10 small gold fish to bribe a eunuch for the location the emperor would pass through. Dressed in playful pink, she pretended to catch butterflies on the emperor's path. She did this for an entire hour. The emperor just smiled and took a detour, then sent the small gold fish the eunuch received straight to my palace. The next day, my stepsister angrily bribed another eunuch. This time, she stood by the lake and danced all night. Another 10 small gold fish were tucked into my purse. On the third day, before she could bribe another eunuch, the passing noble consort gave her 2 heavy slaps across the face. This was the first time she had ever been hit. She wanted to resist, but whereas she used to be the butcher, and others were the meat, now the noble consort was even more overbearing than her, held higher seniority, and had a more precious status. The noble consort even had a father who died saving the emperor. Those 2 slaps were just an appetizer. The noble consort stormed into her palace and knocked over her meal, then dragged her to my palace to pay her respects. Originally, I was quite afraid of her, but seeing her suppressed by the noble consort, reluctantly bowing to me, was truly satisfying. I even wanted to hang myself again to celebrate, but the emperor said if I dared to hang myself, he would send my stepsister away, leaving me with no one to play with, just as her mother used to do to me. I took her meals and gave them to the dogs, then asked her with a smile if she wanted to fight the dog for food. Gritting her teeth in hatred, she said, Jiang Mo, don't get ahead of yourself. It's not impossible that the emperor will fall for me one day. He will eventually get tired of you. The day he gets bored is the day you die. My mother and father won't just sit by and watch. I had experienced my stepmother's methods before, but could she really reach into the imperial palace? What is there to fear? It's better if she reaches in. I'd be worried if she didn't. Don't you want the entire Jiang clan to pay the price? This is a perfect opportunity. Speaking of which, the emperor was even more enthusiastic about my revenge than I was. I don't know what he said to the imperial kitchen, but within 3 days, my stepmother entered the palace under the pretext of visiting her aunt, the grand consort. She sadly told her grand consort aunt that this girl, had no conscience. Though she was a grand consort now, her former informants in the palace were still there. Listening to my stepmother's instigation, she called Jiang Shuiyan to her palace the next day, calling her good child over and over. She naturally wanted to call me over to discipline me, but unfortunately, the emperor wouldn't let me go. She could only give all the remaining influence she had in the palace to Jiang Shuiyan, along with 2 bottles of palace aphrodisiacs. Men, as long as you coax them well. What rank or title won't you have then? If you have a child, you won't have to fear being unable to handle Jiang Mo. Jiang Shuiyan deeply agreed. Finally, on a dark and windy night, she made her move on the emperor. Jiang Shuiyan was thrilled. She stared happily at the bed curtains. If that little brat Jiang Mo could be a virtuous consort, and be pampered by the emperor, could she, Jiang Shuiyan, possibly be inferior? If she gave birth to a prince, the empress's position might be hers. When that time came, she would pay back all the suffering of these days, doubled, no, tripled. At the first light of dawn, I supported the emperor's arm and kicked the door open. What are you all doing? The emperor is still sleeping. You just barge in like this? Go receive your punishment later. Are you talking about me? Noble Lady Jiang, I didn't know. When did I ever sleep by your side? Jiang Shuiyan's face instantly turned deathly pale. Who was he? She looked at the man next to her with trembling hands. The man had also woken up. He was one of the emperor's guards. Trembling, he put on his clothes and begged the emperor for mercy. I leaned down with a smile, looking at my stepsister on the bed. Sister, how could you steal a man? I was wondering why you framed me for stealing your hairpin. It turns out you're the one who likes stealing men. Jiang Shuiyan crawled off the bed unsteadily and knelt on the ground. Your Majesty, I can explain. Last night, I originally wanted to spend a beautiful night with your Majesty. I don't know how the person beside me was switched. It must be Jiang Mo framing me. Your Majesty, Jiang Mo. Jiang Mo was with me all last night. How could she frame you? But I am truly innocent. Leaning against the emperor, I flashed an even more innocent smile. What should we do then? Guard Lin said he committed this mistake after drinking tea. It must be the tea. Let's investigate who drugged it. Drugging the emperor's tea is a capital offense. No one drugged it. I just entered the wrong room. It's all my fault. But I have loved your Majesty since I was a child. I beg your Majesty to give me another chance. The emperor, looking like he didn't know what to do, asked for my opinion. Legally, she should be given silk to hang herself. But noble Lady Jiang is my sister, after all. My beloved consort is truly kind-hearted. The emperor waved his hand, then sent her to the cold palace. Jiang Shuiyan collapsed on the floor and was dragged to the cold palace by servants. Watching her being dragged away, it felt as if a weight in my heart had finally lifted. The emperor gave the guard a sum of money and sent him to the imperial guard as previously agreed. They all left, and the entire place became quiet. The emperor sat at the table. At such a gratifying moment, wouldn't it be a pity if you didn't dress up formally? You'd regret it when you look back later. I admired myself in the mirror. To be honest, I didn't think I looked that good, but in the next moment, the massive gold hairpin on my head dazzled me. I instantly felt he was wrong. This hairpin is so beautiful. He slowly set down his teacup. There are plenty more where that came from. I was instantly moved to tears. If I could live like this every day, who would want to die? I wish you were my father. The emperor's face darkened, and he didn't come to see me for 2 days. On the 3rd day, he still showed up with a box of hairpins. After my stepsister entered the cold palace, my father didn't dare plead for her to the emperor, but actually sent a message to me. He said we are sisters, sharing glory and shame together. If this was my attempt to frame her, he hoped I would admit it to the emperor. Otherwise, the emperor would eventually find out I was a malicious person. Malicious? I've barely even done anything, and he calls me malicious? Jiang Mo, your father is a bit naive. This is only the beginning. Starting tomorrow, for the cold palace, only send a tiny bit of spoiled food and spread rumors that the virtuous consort has morning sickness and is very fragile, and that I'm so happy I'm making her empress. Then, loosen the guard at the cold palace a bit. Time to fatten them up for the slaughter. On the 5th day after the rumor spread, a bowl of poisoned porridge was brought before me. Jiang Mo, your sister is truly stupid and clumsy. He picked up the porridge to drink it. Don't. I hurriedly stopped him. Let me do it. Anyway, I have an immortal body. The emperor gave me a strange look. Let me. If you do it, we won't be able to exterminate their whole clan. Back then, to exterminate the Jiang family, you even wanted to kill me yourself. Are you feeling sorry for me now? Recalling my past stupidity, I felt a bit awkward, but I still held the bowl firmly. This is poison. There are plenty of chances to crush the Jiang family. Let me drink it. The crime of murdering an imperial consort is enough to finish them. He chuckled and took a quick sip as if afraid I'd steal it. Let me drink it. If you drink it, I'll still feel the pain. This way, at least you don't have to suffer. Besides, just one sip shouldn't be a problem. Before he could finish, bright red blood gushed from his throat. He collapsed right onto me. This poison. I was terrified. Tears instantly fell. Don't die. He gasped weakly. Forget it. Your sister is truly vicious. I had died many times, but facing someone else's death for the first time, my entire body was shaking. I looked around for something to end my life quickly. As long as I died once, I could return to the moment before he drank the porridge, and everything would still be in time. It's okay, you'll be fine. I lunged for the porridge bowl, wanting a sip. The emperor reached out and knocked the bowl over. If someone must die, I hope it's me. Can I ask you for one thing? His lips were purple, and he was as weak as a sheet of paper. His hands tightly gripped mine, preventing me from finding something to kill myself. How could he be so good? My tears were falling like rain. Just say it, I'll promise you anything. It's a promise. If I can wake up this time, then marry me, and be my empress. How wonderful. Xiaoba likes you too. He gave a weak smile, and closed his eyes. My tears poured out. and my heart felt like it was breaking into pieces. However, in the next moment, my arms felt light. The emperor was standing to the side, smiling. "Mo, I heard that. I know you love me. There's no need for you to be so emotional." Outside, 2 palace maids respectfully brought in 10 boxes, several plates of snacks, and a bowl of porridge. Everything had returned to the state. Before the emperor drank the porridge, I was completely stunned. He waved his hand to dismiss the servants, then sat down on a chair. "Why so surprised? How else do you think I could know how you died every single time? I've really been killed by you many times. So it's not that I have an immortal body?" He suddenly laughed out loud. "So you thought you had an immortal body? I was truly wronged. But to win Jiang Mo's heart, it was worth dying for." He picked up the bowl of porridge again. "Last time I only took a small sip. Your sister is truly poisonous." "Oh no, according to my informants, that was poison your stepmother found." "Jiang Mo, facing these 2 sinister people. You've had a hard time all these years. This time, I'll solve them for you directly." I frowned and stopped him. "You can't drink it." "I won't. I'll just fake it." After saying that, he struck his own chest, forcing out a mouthful of blood. "Poison. Someone is trying to poison me." He collapsed weakly into my arms, as if he had fainted. But I knew he was faking it. A group of guards rushed in. "Charge. Your Majesty, don't. If you die, how will we orphans and widows live?" Hey. Overacted. Fortunately, everyone's attention was on the emperor. No one noticed. Under the investigation of the imperial physicians, the bowl of porridge poisoned by Jiang Shuiyan was quickly discovered. All of the grand consort's schemes for Jiang Shuiyan were uncovered at once. Because of Jiang Shuiyan, the entire Jiang family was imprisoned, including her mother, the commandery princess. The Jiang matter was searched and seized. During the seizure, they also found evidence of my father's years of bribery, abuse of power for personal gain, selling exam questions for the imperial examinations, and illegal land grabbing. The Jiang family wasn't wronged. All these years, they had done countless dirty deeds. The emperor, who woke up slowly after lying down for 2 days, was shocked to hear this news. Acting like a poor soul kept in the dark, who knew nothing. "Minister Jiang, you have disappointed me too much." Finally, he sadly sentenced the Jiang family men according to the law to execution and the women to exile, except for Jiang Shuiyan and her mother, the 2 masterminds. The day they were executed, I stood in the crowd wearing plain clothes, watching them go from terror to despair, until each and every one of them was dead. I used a handkerchief to blot my father's and stepmother's blood, and took it to my mother's grave. The cold wind swept over the desolate grass. My mother's grave was all alone in the wild field. "They are all dead. All those who hurt you are dead." I stood up. The world was vast and boundless. A withered leaf butterfly landed quietly on my hand, as if it were a response from my mother. It seemed like it was that year again, when my mother let me step on her shoulders to see the pear blossoms outside the wall. She recited softly in a raspy voice, "The pear blossoms are pale white, the willows deep green. The grievances suppressed for many years vanished in an instant, and tears fell uncontrollably. Isn't there supposed to be only pain and no sensation? Why do I want to cry when you cry? Mo, I beg you, stop crying, okay?"